Huntington Hospital and the Cedars-Sinai Health System have filed a lawsuit against the California Department of Justice, asking a judge to overrule the government's stipulations for a proposed affiliation agreement. The agreement would have allowed Cedars-Sinai to give Huntington Hospital a much-needed cash infusion and a financial backstop while placing the independent hospital into Cedars-Sinai's network. Affiliation agreements like this require approval from the Department of Justice, which can impose additional restrictions on the companies. The lawsuit compared the Department of Justice's conditions to a poison pill, alleging they were designed to torpedo the affiliation. A spokesperson for the Department of Justice said the stipulations were meant to ensure and safeguard the availability and accessibility of healthcare for the people of Greater Los Angeles, and protects public funds. The conditions we attached to this affiliation will keep the healthcare market competitive for the consumers served by these hospitals. The lawsuit, filed earlier this week in state court, argues it will harm patients and could be an existential threat to Huntington Hospital years in the future. The suit focused on three unprecedented conditions, Dr. Lori Morgan, President and Chief Executive of Huntington Hospital, said in an interview. For one, Cedars-Sinai and Huntington would be required to have separate teams of negotiators when striking deals with contractors and insurance companies. Those teams wouldn't be allowed to share any information with one another, the lawsuit says. Morgan argued this would only increase costs for the hospital, defeating the purpose of the agreement because the hospital is already struggling financially, and COVID only made the situation worse. Just before the pandemic began, Huntington Hospital posted one of its best years, Morgan said. It was slowly clawing its way back after 5 years of deficits. The pandemic erased those gains, pushing the hospital deeper into the red than ever before. The healthcare network promised to give the hospital much-needed funds to hire more staff members, install seismic retrofits on several of its buildings and upgrade its electronic record systems, among other improvements, officials said. If the hospital was close to running out of cash, the deal requires Cedars-Sinai to keep it afloat. But for the deal to get approved, the Department of Justice will further require Huntington Hospital to set price caps on some of its services for the next 10 to 15 years, depending on the Department of Justice. Morgan said it's illogical to think the hospital could competitively price its services a decade into the future, arguing that this only serves to hurt the hospital's patients and its bottom line, threatening its ability to stay in business. Essentially, Huntington, unique among all hospitals within the state of California, will face severe controls on pricing, the lawsuit says.